We actually have Ghoti for you today. I love seeing this deck actually get the chance to do its thing. We have a Raidraptor rank 4 turbo pile of cards. It's really the best way to say that. Hey, to the 30% of you that have not smashed the crap out of that subscribe button, smash it so you guys don't miss out on more little coverage on Ghoti. So the first list we're looking at here today is a Ghoti deck with Chaos Hunter, actually. This is actually kind of interesting because it puts a little condition on your opponent. Plus, you have Bysteals controlling your opponent. You're going to be doing, standard things with the Ghoti monsters, making Ghoti of the Deep Beyond. It's definitely some interesting little stuff that this deck has been trying to do. And I mean, you've seen a lot of these builds that they just don't even play Dimensional Fissure or Macro. There hasn't really been much of a need to really include those cards. I think that's the most interesting thing to really note is, like these cards that Konami brought back on the last list kind of, make this deck more powerful. It doesn't really use them. So we have triple copies of the Botanicul Princess. We have triple copies of Jerusalem, triple copies of Magna Hut. We have triple copies of Chaos Hunter, and then we have triple copies of Effect Veiler. We have triple copies of the Hoppier Squadron. We have triple copies of Ixip Omen of the Ghoti, and then we have triple copies of the Lifeless Leaf Fish. And then we've got triple copies of Pacey's Light of the Ghoti. We have 2 copies of Schiff Fairy of the Ghoti, and then we've got triple copies of Snopius, Shade of the Ghoti, and then we got 2 copies of Zep Ruby of the Ghoti, then 1 Called by the Grave, 2 copies of the Most Distant Deepest Depths, and triple copies of Infinite Permanence wrapping up your main deck. Now they actually got 1 Projet, 1 Totally Awesome with 1 Stealth Kraken, 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 White Aura Whale with 1 Chang Ying, 1 copy of Ruddy, 2 copies of Ghoti of the Deep Beyond, 1 Draco Berserker, 2 copies of Askin, 2 copies of Aron, and then 1 Garuda. You got triple Dimension Shifter, 1 Feather Duster, triple Ultimate Slayer, triple Dimensional Bear, 2 evenly matched, and triple copies of Ice Dragon's Prison here, wrapping up Ghoti of the Deep Anti-Meta. Next up here is a rank 4 turbo deck. So you got Time Thief shenanigans in here. You have the Utopia package in here. You have access to your Punk package. Everything that this deck wants to do is going to be some very, very easy rank up climb shenanigans. Now, they didn't have a side deck for this when they sent this over to me, but they're like, this deck functioned good enough to win a locals. I mean, when you can Cali King your opponent, you're going to go into a pretty good winning position. That's what makes a deck like this honestly really scary at the end of the day, is you can just disrupt, pound your opponent into the ground, and there's not really much that they can do about it at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like, in a format where, like, Nibiru doesn't exist and, other hand traps have taken a backseat here, something like this coming out of the woodwork, I'm not surprised. We have 1 copy of Celestial with 1 Dasher. We have 1 copy of Deer Note with 1 Foxy Tune. We have 1 Ziamin with 1 Raider's Wing. 1 copy of the Mimicry Lanius with 1 Singing Lanius. We got 2 copies of the Strange Lanius with 1 Rocket Recharger, 1 Rocket Tracer with 1 Silent Boots. We have 1 Time Thief Adjuster with 1 Bezel Ship. We have 2 copies of Regulator with 1 Winder. We have 1 copy of Griffin Rider with triple Water Enchantress. We have 1 ZS Arm Sage with 1 ZS Ascended Sage. Then we got 1 Boot Sector, 1 Dracobeck, triple Emergency Teleport, 1 Faithful Adventure with 1 Foolish Bro, triple Fusion Destiny with 1 Monster Reborn. We have 1 Rank Up Magic Force, triple Pot of Prosperity, triple copies of Quick Launch, 1 copy of Rhoda, triple copies of Rite of Armesier, 1 Rank Up Magic Launch, and then 1 Zexal Construction with 1 Shade Brigade. In extra deck, we have 1 Rusty Tin Can, 1 Striker Dragon, 1 White Strix with 1 Unicorn, 1 IP with 1 Time Thief Reader, 1 Ultimate Falcon, 2 Force Strix, 1 Arsenal Falcon, 1 Photon Galaxy Lord, 1 Gaga 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 Magician, 1 Cali King Yuga, 1 Omega, and 1 Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, wrapping up your pile of cards. Next up here is Dinosaur. Now, I have seen a lot of Dinosaur recently starting to show up on all of these local levels. And I think it's not a bad thing, to say the least, out here, because, I mean, anytime the Dinosaur can, be productive and actually do something is actually kind of nice. So overall, I'm not shocked to see, like, what's going on out here with the power of Dinosaur. Dino Rars. Yeah, just plug in your refrigerator and go. If I ever played this deck, I'm going to dead draw this like it's my job. So we have 2 copies of the Animador and Archosaur. We have triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. We have triple copies of little baby Cerosaurus with 1 Pankratops. We have 1 copy of Giant Rex with 1 Misk. We have 1 copy of the Nemesis Keystone with 1 Pterodon. We have 1 copy of Scrap Chimera. We have 1 Scrap Golem with triple copies of Scraptor. We have triple copies of Soleading Oviraptor with 2 copies of Ultimate Conductor. Then we have 1 copy of Called by the Grave, 1 copy of Change Your Heart. We have 2 copies of the Double Evolution Pill with triple copies of Fossil Dig. We have 1 copy of Harpy's Feather Duster with triple copies of Lost Road. We have triple copies of Pot of Prosperity, 1 Terraforming, and we got triple copies of Infinite Impermanence. Down in the extra kit, 1 Scrap Wyvern with 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Borreload Dragon with 1 Apo, 1 Axis Code, 1 Tornado Dragon with 1 Dugaris, 1 Baguski the Terribly Tired Teddy Bear, we got 1 Gallant Granite with 1 Lagia, 1 Dolka, 1 Zeus, 1 Abyssdweller, 1 Etchery Beast, and 1 Borreload Savage Dragon. We got 2 Droll and Lockbird, triple copies of Ghost Ball and the Haunted Mansion, triple copies of Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood, 1 Gaga Cowboy. You got triple Cosmic Cyclone, and triple copies of Evenly Matched here. Wrapping up Dino Power, aka my refrigerator is running. I should probably go catch that. Alright, next up is Danger Dark World. Now, I have said countless times on this channel that if you want to have a decent deck to play at locals, go pick up 3 of this stupid structure deck, get, the missing danger pieces that you need. You will have something very, very decent that you can actually have to pick up and play the game. That's what you're looking at here at the end of the day is, yeah, I know a lot of people like the deck got power crept, Robbie. Like, I don't necessarily agree to the full extent that it's terrible. You can still do well with this, all right, especially in certain metagame situations. So we have triple copies of Brow. We have 2 copies of Ceruli, 2 copies of Danger Bigfoot with 1 Chupacabra. We have 2 copies of Nessie with 1 Ogopogo. We have 1 Thunderbird with 1 Jackalope, 1 Tsuchinoko. We have 1 Octhrus, and then we have triple copies of Genta. We have triple copies of Grapha. We have triple copies of Rainbucks, 2 copies of Silva, triple copies of Snow, triple copies of Tour Guide with 1 Catalyzer. Then we have 2 copies of Ascension, 1 Dark World Archives, triple the Gates of the Dark World, and 2 copies of Talents. And then down the extract we have 1 Underworld Goddess, 1 Saruja with 1 News Reporter. We got 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn with 1 IP, 1 Cross Sheet with 1 Apo, 1 Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord, 1 Baguski, 1 Hope Harbinger with 1 Dingrisu, 1 Giant Trainer, 1 Abyssdweller, and 2 copies of Grapha. And then you got triple copies of Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood, triple Lava Golem, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 2 Lightning Storm with triple Evenly Matched, and triple copies of the Soulless, no fun, I hate the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Skill Drain, according to some players out there. So that wraps up your Dark World list here. Now, the last list we have for you here is Exo Sister. Now, I will say that Exo Sister is pretty cookie cutter in the way that this deck functions. A lot of people, I think, will kind of agree with me on saying that, but it is very interesting just to kind of see adaptability here for really one of the anti-meta or the anti-meta deck that was supposed to be. I know a lot of people looked at this deck initially and was like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, it did all right, but it didn't really perform too crazily well. So we have triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. We have triple copies of Dimension Shifter. We have triple copies of Exo Sister Alice. We have 1 copy of Irene. We have triple copies of Martha. 2 copies of Sophia. We have triple copies of Stella. 1 Called by the Grave. Your triple Dark World No More. Triple Pax. Triple Pot of Prosperity. Triple Returnia with triple Vadis. Triple Gozu Match. And triple copies of Infinite Permanence. Then the next trick, you got 1 Nightmare Phoenix with 1 Daybreaker. We have 1 Baguski. 2 Magnifica with triple copies of Mikhail's. We have 2 copies of, 2 copies of Caps, Spitiel, 1 Jabrine, 2 Osophiel, only 1 Zeus, and 1 Abyssdweller. Then your side deck here, you got triple Droll and Lockbird, 2 Cosmic Cyclone, 1 Feather Duster, actually citing the Terraforming, 2 copies of Zombie World, triple copies of Evenly Matched, and triple copies of Solemn Judgment. Wrapping up, well, your, I would say powerhouse for this particular format. So not too bad. Lots of diversity really showing its head here. So what do you guys think? Please do comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.